Moen Campbell slowly crouched down in front of the white-haired girl. His movements were so gentle, as if he were afraid of disturbing the dew resting on a flower petal. He could feel his heart pounding wildly. Each beat felt like it was about to burst through his chest. His eyes simply could not move away from that lovely powdered face. That face was just too exquisite. Her pale skin carried the faintest blush of pink, like the most delicate cherry blossom blooming on an early spring branch. Her features were small and beautifully sculpted. Her eyelashes were long and curled, casting a fine soft shadow beneath her eyelids. Her dainty nose twitched ever so slightly. Her rosy lips looked like ripe cherries, pouting just a little with an air of childlike innocence, yet somehow hinting at an indescribable charm. The girl lay there quietly in the sea of flowers. Her pink nightgown was thin and soft, clinging to her petite and delicate figure. The hem spread out like a cloud. The neckline of the nightgown dipped low, revealing her elegant collarbones and a small patch of fair skin at her chest. That faint soft rise moved gently with her breathing. Though still very young, her figure already traced graceful curves. Her slender waist looked as though it could be encircled with one hand. Beneath the nightgown, her two pale little legs were exposed, smooth and fine like the purest white jade. Her ankles were delicate. Her toes were round and adorable, making it impossible not to steal a few extra glances. Her chest rose and fell evenly with each breath. The rhythm was slow and steady. The faintly visible curves beneath the nightgown only added a touch more temptation. No, no, Moen screamed inwardly. This face is way too unfair. Let me make one thing clear. I am not into little girls. He shook his head hard, trying to clear his mind, but his gaze stayed locked in place as if drawn by a magnet. Moen looked at the scene before him, and his heart was almost melting. That chubby little face was simply too cute. Her soft rounded cheeks carried the faintest flush, making people want to reach out and give them a pinch. And really, who could resist pinching the cheek of a sleeping little girl? In the end, he still couldn't suppress the urge. But thankfully, Moen had not been so completely bewitched by that adorable face that he lost all reason. This was the Academy's secret weapon. He kept reminding himself of that over and over in his heart. Moen Campbell sat to one side, rubbing his chin as he thought at top speed. A thoughtful light flickered in his blue eyes. He had originally assumed the secret weapon would be some kind of dragon monster or something like that. After all, by normal logic, anything capable of fighting someone on the level of a crowned one should at the very least be an ancient beast or a forbidden weapon. Sure enough, you really couldn't judge true masters by appearances alone, just like in those cultivation novels. The younger and more childlike someone looked, the more terrifying their power might actually be. Those old monsters, who had lived for thousands of years, often kept the appearance of children or teenagers, returning to simplicity, hiding greatness beneath plainness. And Professor Grant had also said it. This girl had a bad temper when waking up. Moen's mind conjured that old man's sly smile along with his casually spoken a little. Just that a little alone was enough to make Moen's heart pound uneasily. How exactly am I supposed to wake her up? He scratched his head and sank into deep hesitation. He couldn't be too rough since she was still a little girl. But he also couldn't be too gentle. What if she didn't wake up? At that thought, Moen's mind drifted back to his original idea. Just a light pinch should be fine, right? He tried to encourage himself. Just a tiny touch. It's not like I'd use any force. I'm only doing this to wake her up. There is absolutely definitely not even the slightest other motive mixed in. He stressed that to himself again and again. But the pair of hands already itching to move betrayed what he really thought. At last, Moen reached out and placed his hand on the girl's baby soft cheek. The movement was incredibly slow. His fingers trembled slightly, carrying a trace of nervousness and a trace of anticipation. That fair, delicate face felt like cotton. Soft, springy, unbelievably pleasant to the touch. The warmth traveling up from his fingertips was gentle and comforting, like touching a cloud from springtime. He, so soft. Moen couldn't help but let out a deeply satisfied sigh. A look of bliss spread across his handsome face. His eyes narrowed into crescent moons. The corners of his mouth curled upward. At that moment, he looked exactly like a cat who had stolen a fish. In that instant, Moen felt as if his whole heart had melted. Unfortunately, Professor Grant had neglected to tell Moen even a single important detail. And so this poor child, completely unaware of the truth, had been pushed out as the unlucky scapegoat. He was still foolishly thinking he was only trying to wake an ordinary little girl. Little did he know this girl was the true foundation of St. Maria Academy. Poor Moen was still pinching her cheek, still grinning foolishly, completely unaware that he was recklessly testing the edge of death. Then, at that very moment, a sudden change occurred. A gust of wind swept through. It came without warning. 1 second, the flower sea had been calm and peaceful. The next, a violent gale exploded into existence. The entire field of flowers began to sway at once, like layers of waves rolling over the ocean. Pink petals filled the sky, tumbling like surf, dancing like butterflies. They spun and whirled in the air, painting a scene both tragic and magnificent. Moen Campbell had no idea what was happening. His blue eyes were filled with confusion. All he could do was struggle against the sudden hurricane. His body was blown off balance. He planted his feet firmly into the ground, leaned forward, and raised his hands in front of his eyes, trying to steady himself. But the wind only grew stronger and fiercer, as if it meant to scatter everything into nothing. It whipped up his golden hair, his coattails, and the countless flower petals all around him. The entire space was trembling. The whole world seemed to shake. When Moen came back to his senses, he felt a chill crawl down his spine. That chill did not come from the outside world. It came from deep within. It was a warning from instinct, a scream from his soul. At some unknown moment, a cold gaze had settled on him. That gaze felt almost tangible, bearing down with such weight that he could barely breathe. The girl's red eyes were fixed quietly on him. Those eyes shone like rubies, yet carried a calmness beyond the mortal world, like a starry sky, like an abyss. At first, they held the slight confusion of someone just waking up. She blinked. Her lashes trembled faintly. In her pupils was reflected Moen's stiff, frozen face. Then, very quickly, everything in those eyes stilled, like an ancient well without ripples, like a perfectly smooth mirror. No anger, no surprise, not even the slightest emotional fluctuation. Only a kind of calm that made the heart seize in fear. The moment he saw that Moen knew things were bad, the smile on his handsome face froze instantly. He recalled Professor Grant's words, that casually spoken a little cranky when waking up now echoed through his mind like a curse growing larger and larger. A few beads of cold sweat slid down the side of his face, trailing over his cheek before dripping onto the ground, onto the petals glistening like raindrops. Then he immediately fumbled a candy out of his pocket, one he had prepared beforehand. The movement was so fast it looked like a conditioned reflex, as if he had practiced it countless times already. "Hello there, little miss." His voice carried forced gentleness, along with a tremor he could not fully hide. "Please don't be angry. Big Brother's not a bad person. Here, Big Brother brought you some candy." He extended a trembling hand, holding out a beautifully wrapped sweet. The colorful wrapper shimmered temptingly in the light. The moment he finished speaking, the entire space seemed to hit a pause button. Everything in the world froze. The wind stopped. That raging storm came to an abrupt halt, as if an invisible giant hand had pinned it in place. Even breathing seemed to slow by half a beat. Every flower lowered its head. Those brilliantly colored blossoms all bowed in unison, as if they could not bear to watch what would happen next, or as if they were silently mourning Moen in advance. The girl sat up. The motion was light and elegant, as though she weighed nothing at all. Her pink nightgown slipped gently with the movement, revealing a stretch of pale shoulder. Her delicate collarbone appeared and disappeared at the edge of the neckline. The loose strap of the gown hung carelessly from her rounded shoulder, as though it might slip off completely at any moment. Her fair skin glowed alluring in the light. Her slender arms were white and tender like lotus roots. She paid none of it any mind. Her face remained utterly expressionless. That exquisite little face showed not the slightest shift in emotion, like a beautifully crafted porcelain doll. And yet the corners of her lips were raised just a little, as if she were smiling. The curve was tiny, so tiny that if you weren't paying close attention you'd never notice it. Yet it carried an indescribable meaning. one that made a chill rise in the heart. How interesting. Her voice was crisp and airy like silver bells like spring water, yet carried a world weariness utterly unfitting for her age. I only took a light nap for a few decades, and the Academy's students have already become this bold? Her gaze landed on Moen. A trace of amusement flickered through those red eyes, along with a dangerous glint. Hearing that old-fashioned ancient tone, Moen's smile instantly froze on his face. His blue eyes were full of shock. His mouth hung slightly open. His mind went completely blank. But before Moen Campbell had even the slightest chance to react, the girl softly spoke a single word. Scatter. Her voice was very light, like wind passing over a lake, like a flower petal touching the surface of water. Moen suddenly felt a chill all over his body. It seeped through his skin and into his bones, from head to toe, from inside to out. His neatly pressed suit exploded apart in an instant, under some unseen force. He looked down, only to discover that he had once again become completely naked. His pale skin was exposed to the air. His fit, well-built body was on full display. Broad shoulders, firm chest, tight abs, all of it was laid bare without the slightest cover before the girl. What the hell? Moen screamed internally. This white-haired lowly boss lady just stripped my clothes off out of nowhere. Don't tell me she's some kind of legendary pervert? What am I supposed to do if a top-tier pervert strips me naked? And she's even a white-haired lowly?